What's up? There you are. What's up, Paul? Good to see you here. Everybody kind of fill in here, and we will get started. Got a little music for you until then. Nobody pull anything while you're dancing, getting ready for the Traderverse hour. Going to talk a little bit ENS today and gas fees and how that all fits into each other. There's Rick. Rick can now talk with us. He's probably dancing.
Fees are way too damn high.
Yeah. That needs to be your way you come in every day. Gas fees are too damn high.
For sure. I can totally do that for you, buddy. It
Please.
just reminds me that guy who ran for mayor of New York, that rent is way too high.
Oh, yeah.
I've made that meme a few times and posted it.
Yeah, it's matter of fact, if anybody says something is too damn high, that's exactly what I think of.
True. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many memes that if anybody says a certain phrase, that our mind automatically goes to a certain picture.
I swear they're going to teach like meme 101 in junior college in the next 10 years, just because like our generation society has really just shifted to like storytelling through memes. That'd be a fun class to take.
You that already exists somewhere. I'd love to take it. I feel like I could ace it.
MIT. What was your major in? It was in memeology.
Memeology, right. I'm a doctor of memes. Yeah, that would be great. And I feel like I could do well, but so many classes in college I felt like I would do well in, and then I did horribly in. So maybe it would be humbling for me, and I would realize that I need to hit the books and learn my memes better than.
I mean, that sounds like fun.
Right. You're like, man, I would love to go out tonight, bro, but I've got to get on Twitter and get up on these memes. Got to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know what to write my thesis on. What meme would you write a thesis on?
Oh, good one. I really like a guy holding girlfriend's hand, looking back at another girl.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that one's important. So yeah, that would be mine. And it'd be right now that would be looking back at Traderverse, and maybe they're holding the hand of like Facebook or something like that, Meta, but they're looking back at Traderverse, realizing that they're a little better. They're a little maybe a prettier girl. So
hey, Christine's in here now too.
Christine is in here. I know. See, she signs on and immediately she gets to work. So she starts putting a tweet out there, inviting everybody in. And she's got this with science.
She's a pro.
She's a pro. A doctor of Twitter Spaces. I gave her a doctorate.
Hey guys.
Christine, all right, so same question to you. If you had to write your thesis on memes, what would meme you'd write your thesis on?
On memes, you said?
Yeah, on memes. That's what we were talking about.
I was like, hold on, am I here? Right?
Correct, yeah. You are. This is an outrageous conversation we're having, correct?
I don't know that how memes were able to create how memes became meme wars.
Yeah, but you have to pick one meme that's like the one that you're going to write a whole paper on. One meme. I chose a guy holding girlfriend's hand, looking back at another girl.
Oh, that one. I like the one where I always use it too. It's either the little baby girl that like she just has this weird face and like she's looking like left and right and she has like this stink face.
Oh, I know exactly what.
Oh yeah, I love that one. I use it for everything.
Did y'all see a girl looking at burning house sold hers as an NFT?
Oh, that's right.
Really?
Yep.
$500,000. $500,000 she sold it for. So
icon.
Good for her for getting in the NFT game, and making big money off of it. So welcome everybody. I can see we're starting to get a little bit of a more full room. I am Steven, the voice of DeFi. With me is Christine Barnum. She is, well, you know who she is because many of you came in here from her invite and her suggestion to come in here. But she runs the OTC Club. And she's just all over the internet. She does a lot of Motivation Mondays. I've seen you all over, Christine. So just out there crushing it. But, as we talked about what we're going to discuss today, we have kind of our alliteration of the week is Tech Tuesdays. And so we talk a little bit about technology and how that may be moving forward, whether it be stocks or crypto. And one of the big things to discuss today is this ENS launch. And if you're unfamiliar with this, you've seen all of the ENS domains. You'll see some people probably in here, if I looked over the listing of everybody, some people probably have .eth at the end of their name, like a web address, just like your DNS goes into your, the domain name services. You have your Ethereum name services, and it's a decentralized way of having a web address, if you will. Well, over the last day, they airdropped ENS tokens to those that held those domain names. And what's funny is I've talked to a few people, this gets into the gas fee conversation, because I've talked to a few people that said that they wanted to get their own domain name. Okay, they wanted to put ETH at the end, like me getting voice of DeFi.eth, but the gas fees were just too outrageous for them to do, so they didn't do it. Well, here's what's crazy. That ENS airdrop that was given to them is going to be a governance token. They're going to turn it into a DAO where you can vote by having the ENS tokens that were airdropped to people that had these addresses. And the price skyrocketed. And I mean skyrocketed. And there were some people, I've heard stories, I haven't heard this confirmed, that some people would own, 10 domain names and they would get airdropped, approaching $1 million worth of ENS tokens at its high. And it just went up overnight. It went, several times X overnight. So if you own one of these .eth subdomains, make sure or domain, I should say, make sure you claim your ENS tokens. And if you own it and you're in here, I want to hear from you today. I want to hear your story. Do you own one of these, Christine? Do you own a .eth?
No,
I don't
I
either.
wanted to, and especially now, right? Like looking back, but all I heard about it was like, oh, you could have a domain name. I did not know. I think this would have been the selling point for me, is that it can also be your wallet address, because everyone knows the wallet addresses are so extensively long. Like I would love for my wallet address to be something, like Christine Barnum dot ENS, I would have loved that. I know the main complaint was the gas fees, like you were saying. And if any of you guys in here were able to grab that, please go ahead and request, because we'd love to hear from you.
For sure. Yeah, I want to hear, you don't have to tell us exactly, but I would like to have that where you, like you said, that way I don't have to do the big long string of numbers and letters to give people for the wallet address. And they'd just know that, oh, it's, voice.eth or whatever. I bet you that one's taken. But yeah, on top of that, though, there may be a security issue then, because I never want people to know my wallet address. I like to have that bit of security. So maybe there'd be a downside to that. But what I think this answered a little bit is some people are always so concerned about gas fees. Okay, they're always, it's going to cost me $150 to do that. But many people got airdropped in these ENS tokens more than that gas fee would have been. They would have came out ahead on top of that. And I've seen some people that are kind of, we had somebody here yesterday, I don't know if he's in here today, that was pro gas fee, that says they like that the gas fees are high. And they said that this should convince you to not worry about gas fees. That here, getting these domain names make it to where it would have been a good financial issue for you. That person that made near $1 million in ENS tokens, or obtained near $1 million in ENS tokens, it didn't cost them that much in gas. They came out ahead. So yeah, here's what we're looking for. We're on a hunt inside today's Traderverse space in here for somebody that actually did get airdropped some ENS tokens, and was it a good value for you? That's what I want to hear from you today.
That guy, he probably likes stubbing his toe too, if he likes gas fees. I mean, that just sounds like, I don't understand that at all.
So when he's hammering a nail and he hits his thumb accidentally, you think he rejoices?
He likes it. Yeah, he absolutely likes it. He probably also likes rain on his wedding day, and
free ride when he's already paid. Yeah.
yeah,
but when you look back, right, like that gas fee was nothing compared to what they got airdropped to them.
Right. So it worked out well. Rec, I can see you unmuted your mic. Were you a benefactor of this?
I was, and I know some of the people that I reached out to, they qualified, but yeah, they didn't have the gas in order to actually do the claiming. So it came out for me to about $170 to do the claim. And then I'm like, do I want to do that again to swap it into something on Uniswap? Because I like to kind of hedge my bets with selling at least half, unlike what I did with the UNI when it was 4 and I had thousands and I sold most of them. So I did like 1 inches limit thing where the actual other party will pour the gas fee of the transaction if they want to buy something. So, I know people that have hundreds of ENS tokens, but they're in countries where $200 in Ethereum, they don't have that. So they're just going to sit on it. And I think you can claim it until May of next year. So they're just going to kind of wait and see until they can have the gas to collect it, or at least the Gwei goes down less than 100. So I think it's like 200 all day today almost.
Yeah. I think it's till Star Wars Day, which is May the 4th for those of you that aren't as nerdy as me. So yeah, you've got some time if you're waiting for the gas to go down a little bit. So yeah, it sounds like you were the benefactor of it. How many domain names did you have?
I had one, but I had it for a while with one of the projects I've been working with. Came out to 90, but yeah, there are people that have had hundreds because they buy a bunch. I got it. I remember I bought mine when the Gwei was under 10, and I was like really stingy. I'm like, I'm not paying because it's expensive. If you buy a domain now, I think it was 20 for just the gas and $5 a year. So it's up there. But yeah, I mean, when I first pulled it at 7 Eastern Standard Time, it was at 16 on Uniswap. And then I woke up to check on my 1-year-old and it was at 52. So I'm glad I didn't sell right away like I did on those Uniswaps.
A 1-year-old, you can wake up in the middle of the night to try to find those good gas fees. You'll stay awake quite a bit. You won't have to worry about trying to watch the gas fees. You may already be awake. So yeah, that's very interesting. So this gets into the whole conversation of, are gas fees worth it? Rick already just came on and said he thinks that means that you just love pain, that you love that you can't that you like to take on pain. But I think the person's comment yesterday was they felt like the gas fees kept the stuff off to the side that maybe you didn't want. Maybe it kept scams. If you're going to scam somebody, you're not going to choose a project that has that big of gas fees. I mean, you could. It just better be some big money that's moving around. So that was his point, to say that it would be a good thing.
Yeah, I only kid, and I also think a lot of people in this market panic sell a lot of the time, and being able to have to pay a $400 or $300 gas fee, just kind of forces you to be patient, especially when a lot of these newer projects aren't mature and they're like working countless hours to build whatever they're ultimately building, the utility, the community, the product, whatever it is. Just because you get impatient with a price dip doesn't mean that you should sell always. You want to do your own research, and sure, when you are buying, you're buying into something with longevity, especially when you're buying something on Ethereum, especially. But if you're just flipping meme coins, I mean, that's riskier as is. So
sure.
I understand the justification 100%. I just don't make jokes.
You're a funny guy,
The sound effects. I was waiting for these.
That's so great. I was like, wait.
Are we on a
Does
sitcom?
Zach have an audience behind him?
Yeah, no, that's what he would like, is always, every time he says a joke, he gets.
At least it wasn't crickets.
Oh, I got that too, where you're just like, hello.
Oh my.
Yes.
Is this thing on? Yeah.
I love that, Steve. That's so funny.
Hey, I'm always ready with a few sound effects. I got a few more whenever the time is right. Okay, I got to wait until the time is right. But so yeah, let's talk about also why the ENS price went up so much. It's it's going to be a DAO, and I think a lot of people wanted that governance to be able to have a say. Do we think that a DAO is going to be kind of one of the next big things? If people want to hold governance tokens, tokens for a DAO, to be able to have a vote or a say, and maybe that right to vote even supersedes the high dollar value that you could get. And I think this ENS is a real good example of that. It went up to a very high dollar amount compared to what it was released at, but people may want to hold so that they can actually, participate in the governance of it.
I mean, DAO's in the future. I've read so many articles saying, software as a service should be really pivoting towards a DAO, because if someone holds your token and has control or voting rights, like a shareholder, I guess you could say, in your product or service, and they continue to hold, of course you want their opinion on what your product is. Don't you want to cater to your customer? I mean, I feel like that would be the only wise business decision.
Yeah, but here's what I like about the DAO is, normally, if you're a CEO and you have a board and you make a decision that's unpopular with your community, then you have to take the heat, right? Even if it's like the best decision for your business, You make the decision and people are like, oh, I can't believe he made that decision. That's awful. But with a DAO, it's like elections or something. You look to your left and look to your right, and that's who you blame, right? Because it's not a single person making the decision, and maybe that's for the better. But on the other hand, if I can argue with myself here for a second, it's like Fight Club. I can say that maybe the whales, the people that own a lot of voting voice, may have a larger say. Not may have a larger say. They do have a larger say than somebody that just owns a few tokens. So decisions can be made in favor of those that hold the majority of the governance tokens. So that may be a drawback to it. But again, that's why, like right now, it's kind of a gold rush for these ENS tokens to be able to get them. Any of you guys going to go out and buy one now? And even though you're not going to get the ENS tokens, just figure I need to get my domain name with a .eth at the end of it.
I would want to, and I was asking someone earlier, like, so now what? Like, are people gonna obviously sell them, and do they sell them at secondary market? And obviously, like you said, they're not gonna get the token because that already happened. I don't know if Josh, you have anything to say about it, or Rect.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, no, this is one topic I'm actually the least educated about because I've never owned an ENS service or name. I've been looking to buy one, but I'm waiting to decide what name I'd have to buy one on. There's so many Joshes out there that most of the Joshes are taken. Uh, but yeah, all of the guys who already held a lot of ENS names, they were airdrop tokens and stuff. It was for free. And with regards to why the price dumped, like, yeah, people want to be a part of the governance, but if it's free money, a lot of people are just going to be selling it off. To a lot of people, it doesn't matter whether they're part of the governance or not. It just matters that, they have some money, the price is high, let's just sell it off now. So, yeah.
Psychology
Yeah.
of that. There's a lot of psychology in saying that some people would rather have money than a say in things. There's some kind of political psychology in that statement. And I think you're right, but I'm just saying it kind of speaks to us.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And also, Christine, you asked me if you wanted to buy an ENS name. Christine Barnum is right now available, but if someone in this space sees it before you and goes picks it up before
Well,
you,
now
they're
you
probably going to
just
charge
told
you more for
everybody.
it.
Well, just got it, and it's going to take 4 ETH to get it from me. No, I'm kidding.
How much is it if I wanted to buy it?
And it's gone.
Okay, let me check the price. Right now, if you're going to register it for 1 year, it's like $5. So you better get on it before someone else from the space gets on it
Oh
and
my
sells it to you for higher.
Okay, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it.
Sure.
Rex, did you have something to add?
Well, I think the .eth is something a little bit special because on the community call, I asked Nick what his thoughts are on the DAO, and he's done a lot of thinking into like whale protection and the benevolent whale, where like Uniswap's had difficulty with A16Z and big whales going in there and then voting themselves allocations of the token for education purposes that they have discovered. And it seems like it can be manipulated in certain ways, but in terms of the .eth, why I like it is Nick worked at the Ethereum Foundation. He has it linked into Etherscan. A lot of the partnerships are there with Coinbase and everything. So all unicorns are using it, and it's just the adoption is really the only secret sauce of a lot of these types of protocols. Like, you have .btc, .sol, and it's just the ability of all these dApps to agree to use their protocol and everything. So it looks pretty good, and Nick, I think, is doing a good job with governance, and he knows Vitalik and knows all the people, so it probably has the best chance I see of all the name services to keep going.
I'm going to play a little bit devil's advocate to that comment. This seems kind of like, I got into the unstoppable domains as well, and it seems kind of like a solution that's looking for a problem. I understand the usefulness of it is how you can connect it to your various Googles, Facebooks, and so forth. But again, it's one of those things that just seems like, well, I want to get my name in there. I want to get my .eth address and then potentially sell it or keep it in case anything gets big. But you have projects like ICP that are doing some interesting stuff with how they view the entire internet. I guess the way I see it, it just seems like a band-aid over stuff. And I could totally be wrong. I don't see a big problem with how the web way. I wouldn't invest too much into it personally. But again, I've had some bad investment choices. So it's yeah, I'm a little 50-50 on that specific project personally.
I'd like to hear more from you on that. So you don't think adoption would ever be really big with the domains? You just think it'll never actually be used in day to day, and therefore it may lose its value over time. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, even if adoption takes place, I think that we communicate and how communication goes. I mean, back then, if you look at websites in general, it's important to have the .coms, right? The Amazon.coms. But the way things are changing and evolving with how we communicate as humans in general, and with metaverses coming into play, I think it's just going to be a saturated sort of, well, there's some adoption there, and that's some usefulness there. But I think, I guess, how we're going to communicate is going to be so much more dynamic that those things won't matter as much. The .eth addresses won't matter as much, right? Again, like I said, I could be wrong. I could just not be seeing it, but I don't see it right now. I'm not going to put my money into it. I'd rather put it into, a crypto that nobody else knows, that's got potential high adoption based on what they're doing fundamentally, than a .ens address because I want to connect my google.facebook.com to one ETH address, right?
Yeah, I can agree with you that it's more of a luxury. I like how you said it. It's more it's they're trying to find it's a solution for a problem that doesn't exist.
Mhm.
It's just like personalizing your wallet address at the end of the day, where it's easier. It's a convenience, not necessarily. It doesn't revolutionize anything. It's not how hard is it to copy and paste your wallet address or ask someone to send it to this address. Yeah, it's more complicated because there's more digits, but it's a luxury. It's like getting something personalized that doesn't need to be personalized.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, I bought Unstoppable Domains, and the Unstoppable Domains, one of the main selling point is it's your website can never be taken down, right? But just learning about it and say, okay, I'm going to learn about this stuff as a regular person. I'm going to buy a couple of domain names, learn about this stuff, and see how it evolves. At some point in the process, what am I doing this for? It's really just becomes a luxury item, a tickle to my ego that I have this address, right? And maybe I can sell it at some point because there's some value in the name of the address. But at some point, I'm thinking, at this time and place, I think, like I said, communication is going to be different. It would have been important back 20 years ago if it was a .com, or where people needed to get on a computer and needed to get into that address and see what's in that space. But it's definitely evolving, and I don't think it's something that, I mean, it'll probably go up in price. I'm pretty sure it'll go up in price at some point because human nature just wants you to buy stuff that people don't have. I mean, that's just human nature, whether it's ego or subconscious need to succeed over what your efforts are. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's not a value to me whether I can attach an address there, because I know I've got the tools necessary to trade ETH or convert ETH to different coins, or use ETH in general if I need to. And then again, I'm not a big ETH fan either. So that's my 2 cents. I hope
No,
I
I'm
explained it.
I'm
I
glad
don't
you.
want to ramble.
No, I'm glad you put in your 2 cents. And here's why I think it's good to hear what Gary is saying. Is all of us up here on the stage, and many of you that are in Twitter Spaces, are a lot of you are part of NFT projects. There's some value in the name of your project .eth, or there's some value in your name .eth. There probably is some value in that. But I think the majority of people that are just investors, or they're just part of the crypto stock, whatever, Traderverse community, they may not see the advantage to having their name .eth at the bottom of it, because they're not like a brand. Christine's trying to become a brand. It looks like she might have got rugged, but she'll be back on. Or maybe she went to go and to register a domain. But anyway, yeah, there's a reason why we up here might be so bullish on it, and then Gary comes in here and tells us, hey, maybe it's not as big as we would like it to be, because maybe Gary's more speaking of what the majority of people may be thinking, as to where we up here are more thinking about the future of our own brands, just because Twitter Spaces is kind of self-selective for that.
Yeah, it's a niche product for sure. For the people that it is good for, and they are monetizing their name, their brand, their project, whatever. Like, I see tons of utility in owning that as convenience. Looks good on like a flyer. It looks good on a profile name like mine. Like, I have an ENS, by the way.
Well,
Yeah, I know. I just kind of kept quiet. I haven't even looked to see what I have to claim or anything like that. But
You need to check, man. You
I know I've been busy this morning. Okay, I have Unstoppables as well, and you know, like the Unstoppable. I don't really know if I'll salvage because it has a name that we were going to use it for Traderverse, but we decided not to at the end of the day. So, but no, I just think it's a very niche, unique, utility for the people that it benefits. Great. I saw someone in the audience. I think he might be gone now, but he was the NFT collection.eth, and like he had it right in his bio and stuff like that. I would have loved to have him up here to talk about how it helps his business. But it's cool for sure. And
yeah,
like the news is really what I think is what's sending the demand about it, because it's kind of everywhere right now.
for sure. If you were in the audience and you have something to say about the ENS governance token or just the .eth domain names, we would love to hear from you. Joshua, I can see you unmuted your mic for a second. Did you have something to add to what Rick was saying?
Yeah, no, I just got drugged and came back, so I think I missed what Rick said.
It was amazing. It was like 7 years ago kind of stuff. I mean, we'll be
I don't know
talking.
if I'll be able to repeat it, man. I kind of blacked out, so like,
Oh,
sorry.
So, poetry. He actually did a freestyle rap. It was amazing, and I didn't even know he was capable of this, but there he was. So anyway, yeah. So if you are in here in this space and you're like, how did I even stumble into here? This is the Traderverse Tech Tuesdays Twitter space. We come here every day at this time where we discuss different things going on in crypto and stocks. Traderverse is actually a soon-to-be social network that puts together almost everything that you might get at different places on the web. If you need a good social component or an educational component, Traderverse will be there for that. It will be able to reward you for content creation or even using the platform. That's going to be unique. And then some really neat artificial intelligence sort of things to be able to help you make really good trades. So make sure you follow this Traderverse account that I'm speaking from right now, and you'll be able to get the latest on this particular product. But here we're not talking about just that product today. I'm always going to mention it on each Twitter space that we do. But overall today, I want to talk about the ENS launch and how this is a little bit surprising and maybe a bit of a social experiment, in that everybody was all of a sudden given access to a DAO, and maybe a lot of people never had access to a DAO before. If nothing else, it's making the conversation about a DAO a little more relevant, okay? Because now many people that didn't even expect to have any governance over anything now may be given these governance tokens and have a choice, have a decision to make on certain things within that protocol. So we've had several people step up here today that have given, their thoughts over, is this, .eth even worthy to have? And then the second case is, if you thought it was worthy to have and you were scared to do it because of gas fees, is that what kept you away? And if that was the case, do you regret it now? Do we have anybody that doesn't have FOMO, but they just have, just missed out? They didn't have a chance to do anything. Christine, did you get rugged? Did you leave us?
yeah, I think I got drugged the exact same time Christine got drugged. But yeah, I can answer your question, Traderverse, on the gas fees or missing stuff out because of gas fees. So I haven't missed out. Well, I mean, I haven't really minted my name yet because I haven't decided that. But personally know so many people who didn't mint stuff or buy stuff on ETH primarily because of the gas fee. So, the last time we had the conversation about gas fees, we sort of decided it was the cost of doing business on ETH, right? Considering it's going to be the dominant chain. And I think that narrative is long term and it's going to be focused because even the growth is going to be a similar way. Like, I mean, if someone sees you as an upcoming person, in crypto, like I don't know Traderverse if you have Traderverse.eth, but if someone sees your name and they see you up on Spaces, a smart guy would just go buy it up and resell it to you for more, So I don't think I do think that the .eth is something that's widely accepted, considering it is actually related to the ETH Foundation. And gas fees shouldn't really stop you. Like I know the number of losses people have had just because of not buying into something because of gas fees. And I think the biggest one that I have seen so far is one of my friends. He was going to put in $1,000 or something, but gas was coming up to 250, so he didn't buy anything at all. And that thing went to an 88x, I think, in less than a month. So that was painful to watch. But yeah, this is sort of a norm. Like I know so many people who have not bought into stuff just because of gas fees, and they've missed out on stuff because of that.
And that's what I'm saying. This whole ENS thing shows that exactly what you're saying. Maybe it's not to an 88x, level, but I think a lot of people were probably just like that, of not wanting to get something that they did want. Okay, a lot of people wanted to get their name or their brand .eth, and now they didn't, and now they feel like, gosh, why did I not do it just because of $200? In this case, my $1,000 could have become $88,000. Not necessarily buying the .eth, but if it's stopping you from a trade, should gas stop people from making trades? I think there's some people that say no, it shouldn't, because it's going to come out to you correctly in the end. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get it back, right? There's no guarantee on your investment. And there is some breaking point on gas fees, right? I mean, right now it's $200, and we've talked about $1,000. But at what point, whenever it costs $3,000 to move 200, do people say, no way, no way? What's up, Rex?
I always think that the gas by design is an interesting tokenization model, because like Justin Sun, he's like, we're going to ramp up for his blockchain is like, in order to have tokens be burned and in order to limit the supply and in effect make it deflationary, we're going to have an aggressive gas fee. And I think also Polygon is doing where like the minimum's 30 for the Gwei. So it's interesting to see when Vitalik started out saying that gas, paying for a transaction any more than a few pennies is ridiculous. And then a lot of the projects come into full circle and saying, well, it's really a scarcity narrative too that benefits you as a holder of the token. So gas is a necessary part of the blockchain, so you need to embrace it. It's interesting how the two kind of play against each other in some way.
For sure. Dogecoin Rise.
What up, Rise?
What's up, guys? Great space right here, man. I love this topic, man, and very important. I just wanted to say that I was listening to the FOMO part, man, and I missed out on the ENS because of gas. There was a few times where I wanted to buy my Ethereum domain. I wanted to buy one for like my personal account and this account, and just gas fees were always above $400. So I was just like, maybe I'll check later. And it's now like I'm listening to them give their token out for people who secure the domain, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. My cousin was telling me about it early on. He got a domain, and yesterday they sent him like over $8,000 worth of the NS coin, and I'm just like, wow, thank you.
That's really Dogecoin Rise. Your domain is still available, actually. I'll just DM you your domain name. You can just book it on there if you want to.
Don't say it publicly, man, because someone in here will go snatch it.
He's been saying it to everybody. He's like, Christine, yours is
Yeah, he
available.
did mine. He
Hopefully
did mine
someone
too, and I was like,
doesn't
"Be quiet, be quiet."
Just DM them,
Right?
Josh. Just DM them.
There's people in here who have more crypto than we do, man. They'll secure it for no reason.
My bad.
I'll scoop
It's all
them.
good.
You guys can pay me back later, 150%. That's what
Oh,
Right?
cool. Just an extra 50%.
That's it. Just
So
it's the friend deal.
I have a question for you guys. Now that we're talking about this ENS stuff, now is it too late to get the tokens if you secure an ENS domain right now, or was it just if you were a previous person who invested in that?
Yeah, so this was actually out of the blue, as in nobody really expected them to even launch a token, rather airdrop it to everyone who owns domains. There were a few people who had hundreds of domains, it was airdropped to them. So I don't think you can get tokens now for registering a domain because it was a one-time airdrop thing. Now you can just buy it on Uniswap if you want. If you just think that the price is going to go up, you can buy it. But I don't think you'd get an airdrop now for registering a domain.
Yeah, see, that's that FOMO right there, and which I still think natural advice, but I think that that'll be a good coin to personally that I would buy in on just because I see the long-term potential in it.
Okay, that's interesting. So you would actually buy the ENS token, not to get airdropped by it, but you would actually just outright buy it.
Yeah, I would purchase a few of them just because I see where this is going with them, and I believe in it.
Yeah, and I haven't seen exactly what pushed the price up so much. If it was just FOMO that everybody had it, or if there was a lot of purchases from big groups that wanted big says in the DAO. Something was behind it. My guess is the latter, that there were some big groups that wanted a lot of tokens to be able to vote.
Yeah, I believe it was a little bit of both. Just people dumping in money just because they saw it jump, and then the token coming out of nowhere. And when I seen it yesterday, it was like at 116 million within like 12 hours, so that might have made the price jump a little bit.
What is it at now?
It's
Good
at
question.
$42 right now.
$42?
Yeah,
I'll
with a
see.
market cap
Last
of
night,
520 million.
And what
last
was
night
it?
when
Go ahead, Rice.
sorry, last night when I checked on it, it was like at $32. So a $10 jump. That's pretty good.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think, we talked earlier before you came in, Rise, that it's kind of a niche product to have it. Like, it's more of a luxury than it is anything else. But I think as wide scale adoption happens in this crypto market, more people use the service. It's going to have longevity. It's not, I don't think it'll go away just because the Ethereum Foundation supports it. It's on arguably the most important network in crypto. Don't at me, Maxis. But it'll continue to grow, and as more people join the network, the more application and more use it'll be.
Could you guys see this wiping out maybe in the next 5 years, like domain websites like GoDaddy.com and stuff like that?
Man, would a decentralized domain name service wipe out a centralized domain service? How many years did you say? Did you say like 20 years?
No, let's just say 5, maybe 3 to 5. I
No
think right
way.
now
No,
it's still super
There's
early.
no
No, you don't
way.
think so?
too
No.
soon. Gary, do you think that will ever happen? I agree with you. 3 to 5, no way. But
There's
what
no way it's going to happen
30?
3 to 5 because there's no problem right now. I mean, there's no real issues within the centralized internet right now. I mean, I think like I said, I think projects like ICP have a better long-term visual on how the internet would be at that point if they're successful in what they're doing. To replace the centralized, I would say maybe 10 to 12 years if all things being equal, because if you think about how kids operate, you get a couple years where people transfer their regular .coms to .eth, right? And then you have 5 to 7 years of integrating with .eth, and then kids that are growing up now, I mean, I've got a son that's 11. He'll probably start using .eth at 15. So I would say, yeah, 12 years minimum, if that were to ever happen, my guess.
If .eth were the predominant, domain, if it replaced .com, what how big would that be for Ethereum? That would be, I mean, every address that you would see, if I want to go to ESPN instead of ESPN.com, it's ESPN.eth. That would be such an enticement almost for Ethereum. I think that would make them clearly. Well, I don't want to say it would overtake Bitcoin because I don't want to be added by Maxis just like Rick doesn't. But it would be a very large win if that became the dominant domain.
How about if that happened, then all the other, stable coins or whatever, or the top tens would create their own, like, dot BTC, dot, LTC, dot whatever. Is that possible?
I don't see. Go for it.
Again,
No,
I think it's going to be on the catalyst. What catalyst makes people jump from the .coms to the .eth? I mean, the catalyst is the most important factor in this sort of discussion. I mean, I just don't see a catalyst that would. I mean, because there's nothing fundamentally broken about it. People would argue that the internet is owned by the Googles and Amazons of the world, right? But at the end of the day, a functioning, working thing typically lasts. The adoption for it is going to last longer and longer as long as it's functional. So, like I said, if you got kids that are going to do .eth versus that because it's easier for them to transfer their ETH coins or transfer from one ETH to XYZ ERC token, right? And they're so used to it and the ease of that comes into play, then you're probably looking about 12 to 15 years. I just don't see the factors that make us jump. It just becomes like, I mean, how many .biz is out there, right? I mean, .biz was supposed to be big. Not .io is coming into play. I mean, if you look at the numbers of the .coms, it's still going to be the .coms. I just don't see a catalyst that changes that.
Yeah, and the decentralized aspect, I think it'll just be very hard to compete with Ethereum. Back to Christine's question, it's just they're just the heavy hitters right now, and I really can't see anyone coming behind them and competing at what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So
It'd be crazy to see, though,
be very odd. As you're thinking about a utility and what would be a catalyst to kind of move things over, imagine you're at Target or Walmart and it's the future and we're paying in crypto. Okay. And, you get to the cash register and as you're checking them out, you're going to have to know what address to send it to. And of course, you know what address to send it to. It's target.eth. or it's Walmart.eth.
See, I totally see that happening.
Yeah, but the QR codes have been working so well for those. I mean, when I transfer stuff, I think that's what they're going to implement with the QR codes. It's just a matter of showing your phone with the QR code, and there's my groceries for $12.50 for the stuff I buy. I think that's where we're going versus a .eth domain to pull that QR code. If you see the work that's happening with the PayPal's of the world and how they're in, the back end work and purchasing companies that are involved with how payments work infrastructurally, it's amazing how far ahead they are. But nobody talks about it because they know that that's where we're leading towards, but nobody's talking about it.
Well, also, as we talk about, a move to, there's nothing wrong with the current system. I think whenever you look for a need for decentralization, it will be in sites like WikiLeaks or something like that, where people are worried about getting pulled, getting everything pulled to where all of a sudden, information isn't free flowing or something like that. So for the most part, I think what Gary's saying is correct, that most websites don't have any need for decentralization. Their centralization model works, and there's no reason to muck that up. But there are certain use cases, and maybe if payments, like I was saying with the Walmart or Target reason, maybe if there's some sort of incentive because payments are integrated, or you don't want your site pulled down because you're worried that the man will pull down your site, there may still be a reason for it to happen. It may be niche, or niche, but it may not be commonplace for some time.
So I agree. I think what Joshua just, and I think that might be why his hand is raised, what he just shared to the nest about Discord looking to enable ETH into its platform. That's kind of huge. So Joshua, if you want to give your 2 cents, I'd love to hear it.
Sure. So no, Traderverse, what I was actually going to emphasize on, I agree with Gary from the perspective of, domain name shiftings to .eth. The reason I do believe that .eth is actually going to be used and accepted widely a lot, because as he pointed out, it's the adoption or the catalyst that's going to drive up what someone wants to be recognized by. Like right now, see, for example, if you have a .com on OpenSea, it's nothing different, but a .eth sort of highlights or brings out your name there. And the reason I shared up this post that the Discord CEO is looking to integrate MetaMask to Discord. What it was essentially, right? It can probably verify your NFTs or verify your Ethereum profile, because it's actually a really good way to eliminate imposters. And even Twitter came out a while ago and said they're going to make NFT verification possible. So the catalyst here, in my opinion, is all of these platforms like Twitter, Discord, if they're actually including MetaMask to allow for NFT verification and stuff, that's adoption of the ETH blockchain, and sort of also circling back to Christine's question, the reason that, .btc or .ltc is unlikely to, even come out or take over is because nothing is being built on that blockchain. There's not smart contracts enability over there or mass adoption, but ETH, on the other hand, is completely different. There's everyone using the blockchain. There's people NFTs. There's going to be heavy DeFi on there. So as many platforms that potentially integrate, ETH payment systems or NFT verification, I just see that the .eth domain name is something that would stand out as your brand. So that's primarily why a lot of people, go up and bag their names. And for me, it's impossible to do that because Joshua and like 100 other derivatives are already taken. So I have to figure out which name I'm going to go up and take there, But yeah, that's primarily why I see this, sort of being people's go-to identity in a .eth domain format.
Joshua, quick question for you. So how does it work? How do you see this working if that does go about, and say projects like Solana with their Phantom wallet gets massively adopted, maybe second place to ETH hypothetically, right? I mean, do you see people then purchasing, my abc.eth, I got to get that on abc.sol? I mean, and then you see projects like XRP that are doing stuff within the NFT space, right? I mean, at some point, let's say they get big and do stuff similar and get their own wallets, which I think they have now. Do you see that then getting saturated based on the different blockchains that now offer a lot of things that ETH would, whether it's NFTs or things like that?
Well, I mean, that's a very subjective question, as in if you're a creator or a project owner, you would buy the domain based on the network you operate on, right? I don't see any intersection with other blockchains coming into play here. I mean, if you're going to talk about potential competition and stuff, that's a completely different question where we'd have to dive into which would be the most dominant blockchain and why. But yeah, from that standpoint, I do see ETH adoption increasing regardless of the gas fees. And also the version 2.0 that's coming out would also just make it mass adoption much easier with lower gas fees. So from a general overview or standpoint, right, I don't see really competition between other blockchains and stuff. Yeah, as a creator, you can buy your ETH name or your Solana name, but you'd be doing it only if you're dropping stuff there or participating on that blockchain, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't matter to you. So yeah, that's what the general overview is there.
I understand. Okay.
Man, I love the discussion you guys are having today because I feel, and Gary, I feel like you're really key to this discussion a little bit because you're giving the other side of this, which I always appreciate. I don't want it to be like an echo chamber in here where we're just like, oh yeah, ETH, we love it, and we do, I do, and I even think maybe you do as well. But at the same time, you're kind of saying like you don't know if the adoption can be quite as maybe strong as somebody thinks that might be the case. Which I like I said, I appreciate your voice in here to be able to say that.
Yeah,
And
I understand ETH a lot more than people think. I think, from my perspective, until I see the real, switch from ETH 2.0, I'm frustrated with the gas fees on ETH in general. When I'm trying to purchase a coin that, that I believe, has got some future utility, it's frustrating to see these gas fees. But I understand the other argument on that as well. But I just think about it from perspective. If I was new to crypto and I had $100 and I want to get into the game, it's sort of a barrier of entry, right? For a lot of people, which doesn't help adoption in general. And I like ETH in that sense that people are starting to fool around with it, fooling around with technology, learning about how things work. But I also believe that even though ETH is the big boy in the room, I think there's a lot of projects out there that will take up market share at some point, whether it's how good 2.0 comes in place. I think there's going to be significant competition coming around the corner as these developments and projects come in play and some adoption goes in there. Everybody goes on ETH. People talk about people jumping in Cardano, developers jumping in Cardano. I don't believe that case yet. But it could happen. But there's other projects that are faster and better, and it doesn't mean that they're going to win. It just means that people are going to adopt it as soon as they're able to fool around with it. And if you have $250 fees on ETH, people can't fool around with it. If I have a blockchain in Solana and I'm paying 20 cents or $2 to mint something that I want to mint so that I can understand the NFT game, then I'm going to jump to Solana, right? So that's where I'm at. I mean, I know a lot of people when they get in a coin and they use the platform, they can justify the reasons. So I'm approaching it from that sense where I want to see mass adoption happening in the space, and I want to see people that have $100 that want to get into the NFT game be able to access platforms.
but those, I mean, I think ETH is, call it a senior level class, if I can use a college type of analogy, and where if you're just to NFTs and you only have the $100 like you're talking about, probably another chain is probably the best place for you to get your feet wet, figure out, I mean, let's say you're really new and you've literally never held a wallet before. That's probably the best place to get your teeth cut a little bit, kind of understand things a little bit more. And hopefully, even if you're on one of those smaller chains, smaller fee chains, that is, you get up some capital eventually, and maybe eventually you do have several $1,000s, and you're not going to get so scared of $100 gas fees. Rick said something earlier that I thought was interesting, and that it's almost thought of as like, no, that's not a bug, that's a feature, as with the high gas fees. I do wonder if people actually feel like that, or if it's just, as we all tend to get in crypto, get real home team about our things and start saying like, oh, no, everything's great that this token does, or this coin does. I never can say anything bad about it. Even whenever things are obviously bad, I'm still going to wrap it around in a way that really makes it good. It's not high gas fees, it's a spam deterrent, that sort of thing. So I do wonder if it's just everybody getting so rah about their home team.
Yeah, not to go back to the very beginning of this call with what meme I would do, it'd be the dog, this is fine with all the fire everywhere. That meme is what I would do. And that's what I feel like a lot of these coins are, even when there's problems with their community. Like, oh no, it's fine. They just kind of ignore it. It's good to have good discussions like this, and it's good to talk about that. And I really like the analogy of ETH is a senior level coin. And I would say I would agree with that. And once ETH 2.0 comes out, when it comes out, if it comes out, I'm sure it will. There'll be a lot more. If they can make it look like Matic, where there's very, very little gas fees, that's only going to shoot it up and bring more people to the network. But right now, it has the community, it has the ability to build virtually anything on it, and a lot of people got used to it, and a lot of the legacy people, were in it when there wasn't a super clogged network, to do this kind of sandboxing and learn it, and so that's where they are right now. But the Cardanos of the world, um, they're trying to do something fun, with what they got. It's a different coding language, so you have to have a whole new set of developers figure out their language and how to launch contracts and what they can and can't do. So it's going to take time for people to really understand it. Now that they're just launching that, are we going to see competition? Absolutely. I think it's just like Tesla cars. Like, as more and more of these automakers make electric cars, there's going to be more and more market share taken away from Tesla. But their overall business is power, all of these gigafactories. And I think overall, Ethereum is going to have so much of these NFT gaming and communities living on top of their network, and more people are going to join those networks, that they're going to be sustainable for a very, very, very long time. And I think at some point they may rival Bitcoin. It was the highest market cap.
I completely agree with that, especially the rival Bitcoin. And again, don't DM me. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I think it could rival it if the gas fees are taken care of. The only way that this can work out is if they take care of gas fees. Josh, were you going to add something?
Yeah, no, Smartrick made a few great points, but I think it's important not to look at other blockchains as competitors. I mean, well, technically they are competitors, but from a standpoint of users and creators, right? Every one of them serve a very different purpose. And while ETH might be the big playing field, if you're an artist and you want to make the best value of your money, you want to price something at $200 to $250, and you can only do that on ETH, because it makes no sense if you go on Matic or BSC and charge the price that you'd be charging on ETH, But all prices aside, giving an example, if you're a creator and say you have a following of 10,000 people who are all outside crypto, you dive in and you want to enter the decentralized space and make use of the opportunities here. You wouldn't launch on ETH. You would primarily launch on Solana or Matic or BSC, even if they're centralized, they have their own bugs, primarily because it's going to be an easier onboarding solution for all of your followers, because none of them are in crypto. Because I do see that as a very hard breaking point. Like, as if you launch on ETH, all of them are going to see that you're pricing something at $50 or $100, but they have to pay $200 extra for fees. They're not even going to enter the crypto space. So from that standpoint, I do love ETH, of course, because of the innovation, the way it's headed. But from a creator standpoint, or people who are making use of all of these blockchains, Matic is an excellent layer 2 solution, despite its bugs or bridging issues, and it'll get better over time, And I do see the future potentially playing out as all of the chains working together. That's interoperability, and that's how I see the future of metaverse, or NFTs playing out. Primarily because right now you're having exactly that happening in DeFi, and whatever happens in DeFi, it's sort of what the rest of the market picks up and follows through on it. And all of the chains working together is a really good narrative, And if you're having wide scale adoption, you don't even have 1% of the world in crypto right now. Even if that goes up to say 5%, I'm pretty sure even if ETH switches to proof of stake, ETH is not all alone going to be able to handle all the load. And because from proof of work, which it can handle 13 transactions per second, in proof of stake, it can handle 100,000. So it is exponentially increasing, but with wide scale and mass adoption all across the globe, I do see all the blockchain playing their own role or their own integral part in, growth and mass adoption. So I don't really see them as competitors. I hold both ETH and Solana. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, you can be a member of both teams there. You can be on Team Solana and Team ETH all at the same time. You don't, they're not mutually exclusive from each other. Well, that is our hour of today's show. It has been fantastic. Really enjoyed every one of you guys, being in here. There we go. A little bit of tomorrow. Make sure you make it in here at this same time, because we're going to have We All Gonna Make It Wednesday, okay? I even added a little accent to that I didn't intend to. So, we're going to have We All Gonna Make It Wednesday, and we're going to have maybe some feel-good stories. It'll be like if we're talking a sitcom, a very special Traderverse hour. We're going to have some good stories of, maybe looking to the future. Why is this space so hot? Why is this space, everybody wanting to get into it and falling all over themselves to talk about it? We all gonna make it Wednesday, and let's talk about that tomorrow. You'll have myself. I am on Twitter as at Voice of DeFi. You can follow me. Of course, you can follow Christine. She is right here up on stage. And then follow TRADERVERSE, the account that I'm speaking from right now. That is how you can see up at the top of your screen right every day whenever we go live. And at some point, we're going to move this amazing show over to Discord. So make sure you follow us over on Discord. You can get your way to there from the traderverse.io website. Head over there. Go ahead and join the Discord server so you can be prepared for whenever we make that migration, maybe 1 or 2 times a week. So until next time, I appreciate every one of you. Can't wait to talk to you tomorrow on We All Gonna Make It Wednesday. Later, y'all.